Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast with your host, Keith Tupac Gatiramu. I really hope that each one of you has been well, that you've had a good week, and I pray that things keep on getting better for you guys. Today's episode is brought to you by the Healthy Hub. So you can go out there and check them out on social media, online, whatever it is. Fully organic, fully natural products, amazing products they have, I must say. So do yourself a favor. Today's episode will be a bit like the last one I recorded by myself. Like, my guest also wasn't able to make it today, and I totally understand that. I hadn't prepared anything, but something happened to me this week that I felt that I should share with you guys because it's been a big eye opener for me. And the thing was, the other day as I was leaving the office, I got a text from someone that I play football with daily, and he asked me a very important question that actually puzzled me. He asked me, so this is what the text read. Hello, Tupac. I just wanted to ask you, how did you find your purpose? And I will be honest with you guys, I was amazed that someone would ask me such a question, because for me, I don't think I've found my purpose. I think I do things that I enjoy, I do things that I like, but I don't think that I have found my purpose. And as soon as he asked me that, I really thought about it on the way home. And as soon as I got home, the first thing I did was to go on my computer and search what is purpose. And from the dictionary, and I'll read it for you guys, is purpose. Oh, sorry, excuse me. This is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So, for me personally, if you look at all of that, I don't see where I resonate. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Personally, for me, I don't still know my purpose. Yes, I do things like this that I enjoy, but I'm not yet sure what my purpose is and what my calling is and whether I'm actually living a purpose driven life. But there's a few people that keep on helping me understand life, and one of them I'd like to say is Samir Anwar. Shout out to Samir, man. I saw you won the fight the other day. That's amazing work you've done. And one thing I'll share about Samir, and which I'm trying to learn for, is, you see, the thing is, Samir is a fighter, he's a UFC boxer, and hopefully one day we'll have him on the show. And I was, in my mind, or how things exist in my mind, I'm trying to imagine how it must have been for him to, tell his parents that this is what I want to do. I want to be a fighter, because I'm thinking, for me, if someone told me that they want to be a fighter, how I'd be kind of against that in this, I'd be worried, especially if it's fighting, like if you told me music or football, there's not too much heart in everything. But this guy wanted to be a fighter, and that's what he's worked for. I've been watching his snaps and stuff for so long, and he practices so hard and I actually admire the fact that he's actually doing something that makes him happy. He's doing something that he likes, and something that he's passionate about. And the same relates for people like Daniel Nduva, who I continuously watch playing golf. I watch continuously winning different tournaments in South Africa, here in Kenya as well. The same applies for Mutahi Kibugu. And I look back on my life and I say, am I doing something that makes me as happy as what these guys are doing? Like, okay, yeah, I might not know how they truly feel inside, but when I look at them and when I see them do what they do, they seem truly and, genuinely happy. And I feel like if you're doing something that you're good at, something that actually makes you happy, I think that is a good direction towards finding purpose. I think that's a very good direction towards living a purpose driven life. And the thing is, I read a quote today by Jay Shetty. Let me actually just look for it. And yes, it says, in this life, we focus so much on what we want to be instead of who we want to be. And I was like, wow, that is so powerful. Like, we have this thing for where we focus on what we want to be instead of who we want to be. So they always ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we're always like doctor, lawyer, pilot, whatever it is. But no one ever asks you the question of, who do you want to be? And I think that's something that we should start asking each other, that schools should start asking children from a very young age. Who do you want to be? Not just what you want to be. That's a very good question as well. But who do you want to be? And the crazy thing is, I've seen people coming from what they wanted to be to now who they want to be. I have two friends who recently finished law school and they said they don't want to be lawyers. Like, that's not who they want to be. They wanted to be lawyers, but that's not who they want to be now. And one of them the other day even came and told me, yo, Tupac, I actually need to come down and sit with your dad and break to him the news that I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And he's going to give me a lecture and everything. But I feel like I could have a very intelligent or wise conversation around who I want to be with him. And I know she told him, but I don't know if they ever had that conversation about everything. And I think as long as you're doing something that makes you happy and everything, and you're giving your best at it, then that's good. Someone I'd actually also like to acknowledge for living a very purpose-driven life is Kahush. So when in the making of Mastingo, I sat with Kahush and Chris Kaiga, and throughout that whole process and everything. Sorry, let me take some water. Yeah, so through the whole process and everything, I was extremely amazed at how much fun these guys were having, how much they enjoyed what they were having, and how much detail they were paying to what they were producing. For me, I'd listen, I'd be like, yo, this is perfect. But no, Kahush be like, nah, I think we need to tweak this. I need to tweak that. I think we need to tweak this. When we were recording the video, it was the same thing with the director. He's like, no, I can notice this, I can notice that, I can notice. And that's how you actually see someone that enjoys what they're doing, someone that is actually, enjoys what they're doing. And I think one of the most important things about a purpose like driven life is to enjoy what you're doing, to enjoy, waking up at 6 o'clock because you want to do something. And the thing is, what you also need to do is not just enjoy what you do, but invest in what you do. I think we draw the borderline at just trying to enjoy, but the truth is, invest in what you want to do. What do you enjoy? And I think that's very important. And I've learned that from my brother Korby and Musk. And Musk, first of all, I'm an amazing artist. I met him sometime last year, and it's crazy. And when you hear his story, another person I'd like to have on this podcast, he started making music from his bedroom because that is something he enjoyed doing, and he thought, he could be good at it. And it's amazing to see, because of the time he's invested to learn and everything he's doing, he's grown so much. And shout out to their last tape, did very well, still on the charts, and it's amazing. And I see the same thing with my brother. My brother right now, he could stay in his room for like 14 hours just trying to learn a song, try to master, try to tweak a few things here and there. And for me, when I look at that, I look and ask myself, what is it that I, as Tupac, want to do that's similar to what, all these guys are doing? And like I said before, I'll just repeat the quote again. Yeah. Society forces us, or no, let me repeat. Okay. We focus so much on life on what we want to be instead of who we want to be. So what we want to be instead of who we want to be. And you see, the thing is, society has come to tell us or push us or, just push you to tell you this is who you want to be, And if you look at it, they say, oh, you have to finish primary by this age, high school by this age, university by this age, get married by this age, and all those kind of things, and that's what society does. Society wants to keep you in a bubble. And when I look at it, I think so many people go through life without living life. So you don't live life, you just go through it. There's the two are very different, and it's important that you live life. You just don't go through it, And that's what society does. It puts you in kindergarten, then it puts you in school, then it puts you in university, then it puts you in a job, and then eventually it puts you in the grave, And when you look back, or if you were on your dying bed, you'd ask yourself, have I really lived life, And I think that's important, and society already, it forces us or tells us be this, be that. And what I'm trying to say is it's not just society, but it's our parents, it's our friends, it's our siblings. All those people try to force us to be something we are or something, and we might not necessarily be that person, and one thing I'd like to say is, okay, let me get my thought back. Yeah, so, and that's what I'd want to say is it's important to not let society force you into being someone or something, and dictating what success is or what, And if you listen to last week's episode where we had Franco Diambo speak, and Franco came out to tell us his story. This was someone who was kicked out of his own house by his own father by age 13, 14, I think, if I'm correct. I can't remember, but I think 13 or 14, yeah. And the thing is, he was kicked out because of something he loved, something he was passionate about. And Franco has taken that so seriously that right now but he runs a world recognized dance foundation from something that he was passionate about. Even when the people around him told him that dance will take you nowhere, dance is useless, he said, no, this is me, and he stuck to it. So I think it's important for each one of us to find out what our dance is, the same way Franco found out what dance means to him, And what I always tell people is you do not have to be something forever. Today you could be an actor, tomorrow you could be a doctor. It doesn't mean that you have to live as one thing, for the rest of your life. You find people who started off as footballers become actors, people who started out as, drug dealers become pastors, It doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave one thing for the rest of your life, Yeah, so this week as I was in the office, I was listening to a podcast, usually I try and listen to a podcast a day, so it can just open my mind about how I see things, learn something new every day. And this guy said a couple of things that stuck out to me. And what he said, not what he told me, but what he said was the problem with people these days is they let society dictate who they should be. And therefore we try and be people that we're not. And he gave this example of an apple tree. He said, when you look at an apple tree, you see an apple tree trying to grow to be the best apple tree it can possibly grow to be. You don't see an apple tree trying to grow into a banana tree. That can never ever happen. So why do we humans try to be someone or something that we're not? Why is it you'll see someone trying to be someone that he's totally not comfortable being? And that's what I try to tell you guys. Like, it's important to learn who you are, know who you are, and therefore you could be the best version of you. Grow to be the best version of you. Just like the apple tree is growing to be the best version of itself, you too should grow to be the best version of yourself. And honestly, as we come to the end of this, I haven't really said what I do to, find my purpose and everything. But what I told the guy who texted me that I mentioned earlier on is I told him, I think personally, the best way for a person to find out okay, not the best way, but in my opinion, I will share a couple ways that I believe that can help someone, find out what their purpose is, or to help them live a more purpose driven life. And I think one of them is to look at your past, look at the good and bad things that have happened to you in your past and use them to shape yourself. I've come to this realization that nothing happens for, I've come to this realization that everything happens for a reason. No matter how bad or good it is, everything happens for a reason. And when I look at it, when I look at some of the experiences that I've written down to share with you guys later on this podcast, before I even wrote the podcast, I used to ask God, why would this happen to me? Like, oh God, like, honestly, I've tried to be the best person I can. Okay, I believe that I've tried to be the best person I can. But, I'd ask, why has this happened to me? And, a few years later, when I look at it, I was like, so I could share this story with someone. So I could share this with someone so they don't have to, go through it again, or so they can avoid my mistake. And that's what I think we should all do is let's look at our past and the good and the bad and find out. I think another way is to ask your friends what they think, or just your family or anyone around you or anyone that knows you very well, what are you good at as a person? And that could be you, because sometimes we don't see value in ourselves, and it's important that we see value in ourselves first, because if you don't see value in ourselves, how will the world see value in you? And so, yeah, ask your friends, you might be a good singer, and singing could be for you. You could grow to be the next singer or whatever it is. And that's another way. Another way is to also find out, what are you passionate about. Are you passionate Are you passionate about reading, writing? What is it you're passionate about? You see, for me, I knew that I was passionate about saying stories, teaching people, helping people learn from my experiences and other experiences. And I always wanted to write a book. But then I asked myself, Tupac, you're not even passionate about reading books. So why are you going to write a book? You can't try sell to someone something that you can't even sell to yourself, And I think that's very important. And please note that these days I read books. I've realized there's so much I missed out from running away from reading books back then, but I'm trying to catch up on it. And I think for me, the last and the most important point is to ask yourself hard questions. A lot of us run away from asking ourselves hard questions. It is really important, and I emphasize it. It's really important that you learn to ask yourself hard questions, And for me personally, my dad is constantly asking me those hard questions. I sit down with him for breakfast and he's constantly asking me, so how you're spending your time today, do you think it's fair to the future, Tupac? Or what you did today, what you ate or what you consumed, do you think it's being fair to the future, Tupac? And I'm just there like, wow. Like, honestly, Dad, is this how you want me to start my morning? But yeah, I think it's important we all learn to ask ourselves the important questions. And there's so many of them online. There's videos about them. There's books about them. Yeah, so it's important. And I also want to tell you something. You can read all the books in the world, but if you do not learn yourself and learn how to apply the knowledge you've learned from those books, then those books are completely useless, you know. And I think that it's extremely important that, you know, we learn to ask ourselves very, very hard questions, the questions that you and I run away from. Because trust me, I run away from those questions a lot. And those questions are available online. You can get videos on them, you can get books on them, you know, you can listen to podcasts on them, whatever it is. But even as much as you consume that content or whatever it is, it's important that you learn yourself first and learn how to apply those things in your life, you know. And another extremely important point that I forgot towards finding your purpose is God or a higher being. Whatever you believe in or whomever you believe in, it's important that you constantly have conversations with them to enable you to learn about yourself. Because I want to ask you something. We believe that we were all created, or, you know, for those that believe that we were created. So if someone created you, then they know your use. The guy who created the plane knew it was meant to fly and not to drive. You get? So it's important that we have a conversation with whoever or whatever we believe in to help us find our true purpose or our true self, or to help us live a more purpose driven life, you know. Anyways, I think we've come to the end of this podcast. I hope that you were able to learn a thing or two. I know it wasn't that well done, but I promise you I am getting better and better at it. All it takes is practice and probably better preparation, as I said. And I just hope that you have a good day. Thank you so much for those who have listened this far. I pray that God blesses you guys abundantly. See you next week. Bye bye.